Howdy, this is Lemmy, here to talk to you today about ram mounts. You should be looking into a set of ram mounts for your motorcycle if you have stuff that you want to put onto your bike. These things will fit just about anything. It has to do with ram mounts' rather innovative mounting system. Installation on these, fortunately, is a snap. I'm going to call it a one-bearder on our BSD, or beard scale of difficulty. If you can operate a wrench, you should be able to put something on your motorcycle with a ram mount in between with absolutely no difficulty. Let's get right into things. Ram mounts is synonymous in the motorcycle world with attaching things to your handlebars. It's almost a shorthand code. And that's because ram mounts has been in the game for a long time. They first started in 1992. These guys are making their products right here in the USA, and they work really, really well. Now, rather interestingly, even though to motorcyclists, ram mounts are sort of the universal catch-all answer for putting electronics onto your motorcycle, believe it or not, it's actually a fairly small section of their business. They do a lot of work, believe it or not, with military and law enforcement. If you've ever been pulled over by a cop who's got a tough book sitting there on the dash next to him, it's more than likely that that thing is held in place by a ram mount. However, the whole principle behind their mounting system really applies to a number of different things really well, and that starts with the ram ball. This is the center of just about every single one of their mounts, and this is actually an elastomeric ball, which is a fancy word for rubber. The fact that this ball is rubber is kind of nifty. It does a couple things. So it prevents slip. Because it's rubber and it's kind of grippy, it prevents any of their things from moving, even if they're cantilevered off like you can see on some of these mounts here. What it also does is soaks up vibration. Motorcycles have a habit of vibrating, especially those of you guys on thumpers or V-twins. They can really shake the bejesus out of the bars, and fortunately, this rubber here helps isolate your electronics from all the vibration. The other thing these do too is also allow for a little bit of tolerance when you're kind of cranking down, trying to move something on the fly and maybe adjust something while you're actually on the motorcycle. They're very forgiving, really is an ingenious system. So if you think about this as sort of the link for the ram mount, what it's going to do is going to take all of your electronics and your motorcycle and marry the two up. So let's talk about first how these would actually attach to your motorcycle. So you can see here, we've got a number of handlebars up here, and everything is attached to the handlebars with these U-bolt kits. This is a ram piece. You can grab one of these for your bike. And the reason we're showing you these simply is because the handlebars allow us to show you a number of different products rather quickly. But in addition to these U-bolt clamps, which fit a number of bars, 7/8, 1 inch, you can even go up to 1.25 inches. In addition to that, these things are not the only mounting system that Ram offers. They actually offer mirror mounts. They offer bolt kits. They also offer mounts for your brake master cylinder. Ram has been very creative in finding different ways in order to mount stuff to your motorcycle. And as you can see, it really does allow you to mount many things to your bike. So let's start over here and we'll talk about what kind of things Ram makes to help you put different electronic or non-electronic pieces onto your bike. Moving down all the way to the end here, you can see my super high-tech cell phone, which I've donated for the cause, held in a Ram mount X grip. So these things are kind of cool. I'm going to pop my phone out. Just with this simple scissor action here, you can see that this thing grips just about anything. So this is a good universal style mount. You'll notice this one here is equipped with a tether. This is really nice because once you get your phone in there, you can pull this thing over the corners to tether that in place. So if you are running down the road, you hit that big pothole, you still have something holding onto your item if perhaps it should slide out of the X grip mount. These are hugely popular. We sell 1 billion of them, and the reason is because they work really well. Now, along the same vein, you'll notice over here we have a universal cell phone mount. These are kind of infinitely configurable. These are great for those of you guys who have a fancy, crazy case on your cell phone. So if you've got an OtterBox, you've got one of those life-proof cases, this is going to be the way you want to mount it. It allows for a much deeper cell phone mount in here. And because these jaws are kind of flexy, you've got a little bit of play in here, you've got the opportunity to mount something that's really kind of large, and this really will work well with a wide variety of cell phone cases. Moving on down the line, ooh, I don't want to forget it, down here. You'll notice we have a suction cup mount. These things are actually pretty nifty because they can be used outside your motorcycle as well. These are great for windshields, for those of you who are rocking a windshield with a flat spot on it. They work really well in cars. And you know, it's kind of funny, where I use these, believe it or not, a lot of time is on the tank. If I'm trying to mount a GPS and I have a flat section of a tank on a sport bike, they grab really nicely. As long as you make sure the thing's good and clean, you don't do any damage to the paint at all. Continuing on down the line, you can see here we have a cup holder. I think this is actually pretty cool that Ram offers these. It's gyroscopic, so this thing should, in theory, hold your drink perfectly level at all points in time. It really is nice to be able to bring something with you. If you have a hot cup of coffee, you want to bring it with you on the way to work, this is the way to do it. It's low key, it works really well. Swinging on down here, one of the things I want you to see here is the extensions. You can buy extensions in a number of different lengths with a number of different joint sections from Ram. And the reason this is important is, again, because these things grab onto that ball, it lets you position things in different ways. This particular setup, you can see here, does have a Ram mount actually for a GoPro camera on here. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because, especially with camera setups, for those of you who are vlogging or just recording your rides, sometimes it can be difficult to get the camera in just the right spot, so you're getting a nice field of view. And fortunately, the versatility of the Ram mount system, I think, makes that pretty simple. If you've got a couple of their bits and pieces floating around here, it's really difficult to not get your camera exactly where you want it. You'll notice this thing too does come in chrome, so if you do have a Harley, if you got something real chromy and you don't want to throw black plastic on there, you can get the chrome cantilevers, and it will keep things looking nice and uniform. Your bike doesn't stick way far out when you don't have something mounted up to it. Continuing on down the line here, you'll notice again another GoPro mount, and we've also got a GPS mount over here. These things are kind of near and dear to my heart. I really love these things because I use one on my bike fairly frequently. Many model-specific mounts on here, they hold the GPS really firmly, so much so, to be perfectly frank, I'm confident enough that I don't even tether my GPS when I'm using one on the bike. So this brings us to installation here. So installation of these really is fairly simple. Like I mentioned, if you can operate a wrench, you should be pretty well set to put a Ram anywhere on your motorcycle. Depending on what you're doing is going to obviously affect the difficulty level. Something like a handlebar mount you see up here, really quick installation. If you're looking into something like a brake cylinder master mount, as long as you can take a peek at what you've got, do some basic measuring, it shouldn't be difficult to get the right pieces. Just about everything is a very simple installation. The more creative you are too, I think the more ease you're going to have and the more flexibility you're going to find the Ram system offers. Now, if it's not evident, I really like these. I use Ram mount products almost exclusively when it comes to mounting stuff to my own motorcycle. I like them. The price is just right on them. They're super effective. Don't take my word for it though. Click that info button, read some other rider reviews. Check out what another motorcyclist who's rocking a setup similar to what you're thinking about thinks about the rig. Of course, if you need a little bit more individualized help, we can provide that to you. Get in touch with one of our gear geeks, 877-792-9455 by phone. Of course, you can always shoot us an email too, cs@revzilla.com. I'm Lemmy, I'm out of here.